Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another exciting design tutorial with UXmate. In this video, we are going to learn how to create low fidelity wireframes and basically you can say ideation phase of the design process, right? So why ideation is required? Yes, it is required because when you want to derive a solution, you should not be focusing on only one way to get to your solution. You need to think of as many as possible ways to derive your solution, and that's why ideation comes into the picture, right? So as much as you will be ideating, you will be able to derive lots of different ways to solve one particular problem, right? So when you have a lot of different ways to solve a problem, then you can take those ideas into consideration and test them against your users, and then determine which particular idea or which particular set of ideas, or you can even combine multiple ideas together, and then you can figure out what works well with this user persona or with whatever users you have, right? So with this you can basically create multiple solutions to solve one problem, and then test those problems, and then you can derive one solid solution which will help user to solve their problems, right? So what are important factors in ideation? First and foremost important factor of ideation is never ever restrict yourself with anything. Okay, don't think about technology, don't think about what we say is it possible, possibilities, don't think about feasibility. We need all of these things, definitely we need these things into the consideration, but not in part of ideation phase, right? Definitely we must check about the technical compatibility, we must check about feasibility of this particular solution which we are designing, but that should be at later point of design, like while creating the application or while creating the product from scratch. We should not think of those aspects, right? So never ever restrict yourself. That is first and foremost important factor in ideation. Second thing is, don't satisfy yourself with a couple of ideas or a couple of layouts, you can say, if you are designing digital products. So try and create as much as variations possible. At least you need to do hundreds of different variations to solve one particular problem, or to create one particular design, right? And third thing is second thing is, like first thing is, never restrict yourself, never restrict. Okay, second thing is, don't stop don't stop too early, right? And third thing is, what you have to do is, don't jump into any design tool yet. Don't jump to design tool. Why? Because when you start creating things in a design tool like Figma, Photoshop, Illustrator, Canva, or any other design tool, XD, so when you jump into the design tool, you basically start losing your focus from low fidelity wireframes, and you start looking at minor details, for example alignments, right? For example colors, right? Alignment, colors. Then you start looking into typography, right? When you go into any design tool, rather than focusing on the very low fidelity blocky diagrams, you start to think of the independent elements of the design, right? So what is going to be the layout of the design, then what is going to be the colors you will be using, what is going to be the typography, am I aligning the things easy, very well or not? So you start going into the trap of the tools. So what we have to do, we need to discard, definitely we need design tools, and that's what which helps us to make our job easier. But even before going to any design tool, I would recommend go to a brainstorming tool. It could be a whiteboard, it could be a paper pencil, or it could be Photoshop, where you can sketch with your digital tablet, or you can use paint, like whatever tool you want to use. But start with the brainstorming, where you can do loose sketches, right? So let's say let me just clear this page, and let's say what I want to do, I want to create a page, a website where I am going to sell a book, right? So what I'll be doing, first I'll be targeting my screen width. Okay, I want it for the desktop. Okay, great. Now what I want to do, I want to sell a book. Okay, why you are making this design? This is your why. Sell a book, right? So how we would be doing? We would be then we need to think who are my users, who will be landing to this page, right? Then you need to, then your persona comes into the picture, right? So this is your problem statement, why I'm doing something. This is for whom you are doing, where your persona comes into the picture, and then your solution, which is we will be designing here. Like based on why and who, we can definitely think about when, where, how those things are there, but we will not jump into those details as of now. What we will be doing, we will be creating as many as possible variations of the layout. So for example, let's say I want to sell a book, right? So what I'd be doing, I'd be having a clean, a nice good looking image of the book, right, as my banner of the website, for example. So I don't want anything, I just want a book here, right? And then I need a actionable item, a CTA here, right? So this CTA will say buy now, right? So this will lead users to buy this particular book. This is the first thing which we did, right? Second thing is what do we want? Probably we may have some reviews about the book, right? We can probably add reviews about the book, and then still then we can have CTAs here, probably read more if we are restricting it up to certain characters, or if not, we can have a CTA or a combined CTA, or let's say okay, this is one layout, I want to know 3 cards and with 3 CTAs. What else I can do? I can keep the same banner, I can keep same CTA here, and instead of having these 3 different cards, what I can do is I can have 3 testimonials, or I can have more with a slider, and then I'd be having a primary CTA where I can say buy now, right? So what we are doing, we are giving opportunity to the user. Okay, have a look at this image. Okay, is it interesting? If this image itself is interesting, they will go ahead and click on the CTA. Still, if they scroll down, we are showing them testimonials, right? So if they find these testimonials relevant to them, helpful to them, then again we have a primary action button where they can go ahead and buy the book. So what we are doing, we are kind of triggering a action, or we are asking user to trigger a action with our design. And that's why this layouting comes into the picture. Like, why should we have multiple sketches? Let's say, okay, I don't want this sort of layout. I'll be having entire left hand section where I'll be having preface of the book, or I'd be having like, let's say this is my book, and as I'm scrolling down, probably what I'll be doing, as I'm scrolling down, I'll be kind of opening the pages of the book, right? So you can show what's inside, not only the cover but what's inside the book on a quick glance, and then you can utilize your remaining area to fit in your CTAs, or your title, let's say a title of the book, then some description about the book, and then your primary button buy, right? So if you jump into the design tool and if you start plotting these elements, it is going to take a lot of time, at least hours. But we have created 3 different layouts just in matter of minutes, right? So that's why I said don't jump into the design tools yet, because we want quantity here, we don't want quality here, because we want as much as possible layouts, right? What else I can do? I can think of some other sketches. Be loose, be don't try to have these straight lines, right? Okay, be loose as much as possible, because when you start being loose, you keep on flowing a thought process in your brain, and you keep on ideating the stuff. Like, if you know how your brain works, if we are flowing a chain of thought, as long as this chain is moving in a direction or in a sequence, until and unless we get deviation for some other thoughts, or from some other thoughts. Let's say if you are reading, for example, so you are concentrating on the particular book, right? And when somebody when your phone rings, for example, you get distracted. So there is this flow of thoughts, this chain of thoughts, and as soon as you get a distraction, it could be your phone, it could be someone is calling you, it could be someone is at your doorstep, right? It could be anything. So when you get a distraction, your flow of thought is disturbed, right? So when you go into the much detailing, when you start focusing on individual elements of the design, then you start distracting yourself, right? So you will create n number of different deviations in your thought process, and that is going to lead you with a lesser ideas, or with a restricted mindset while designing the ideas. Make sense? Great. So what else we need to do? So I guess that should be more than enough. Like ideally, okay, let me tell you, ideally how do I do ideation process. So what do? I basically take a clean paper, okay, and then I draw a couple of thumbnails, a couple of boxes, right? Pretty loose. I just draw a couple of boxes. I write some factors here, right? Couple of items or couple of pointers here about what I am going to solve. First of all, why I am doing this, then what I have to do, who are my users, right? And what else we can think of, like what else important research data we have. For example, it could be with the resolution, or okay, I want it for desktop, right? So I try to cater a couple of points, near about 5, 6, 8 points, which I write down on the paper somewhere, right? Okay, so while I am doing the ideation phase, I know I am relevant to my problem statement. I am not deviating from my problem statement. That's why I keep this note handy while doing ideation. So right, so I have a couple of thumbnails here. Definitely, if you guys want, I can give you a template of this, but it is not a big deal, right? You can simply draw a couple of boxes on the screen or on the paper, and you can get started with it. So what we have to do, we have to take care why I'm doing this. First and foremost important question, what you are doing, right? How you are doing, for whom you are doing, and what is going to be your target, like a kind of targeted device, or if it is a physical product, then you may think of actual dimensions, or actual usability, or a couple of important factors that is going to keep you on a track. That is important. So make sure you write down a couple of items here, and then you jump into the sketching. So when you do sketches, you don't need to be again like pretty clean, or you don't need to be a good artist. As long as you can draw something on the paper, doesn't matter if it is a straight line, if it is a jiggly line, if it is a curved line, it doesn't matter. As long as you are able to draw something on the paper, right? You don't need to be let's say you want to draw a human face, you don't need to be that perfect, right? You can simply put in a face kind of structure here, right? You don't need much details. Okay, how my eyes is going to look, how my lips are going to look, it doesn't matter. What you can do, you can simply draw a circle if you want a direction. Like this is what we do in the character designing. Like in the early stage of character design, when we are blocking out the pose, we don't think about the actual details about the each and every independent things or independent details. What we focus is, like, we focus on the posture of the body, right? What is going to be the posture, what is going to be the line of action. Okay, so this is what my line of action is. I'd be having this hip bone here, and then I'd be having legs, right? I can have my hands here, right? So I'm just kind of blocking out stuff on the screen, on the paper, right? So same thing which we are going to do here. As long as you can draw something on the paper, as long as you are able to turn a white paper into a black, that's all you have to do, right? So let's say let's start plotting out the things. Okay, I will have a navigation bar. Definitely I can be precise, but I'm just doing it for the just for demonstration purpose. Okay, don't need to be perfect in this stage, and that's why I'm keeping myself loose. I'm not going into the perfection, right? So let's say this is what my navigation bar is, right? Then let's say I have a banner image. Okay, then I need some text here. Also, let's say I need a image here. Why I need an image? I'm just trying to blocking out the layout. I'm not going into much details what image I need, what else I need. I'm just plotting out things. Okay, I need some sort of actionable element here, because when user is coming on the screen for in the first fold itself, he should not be returning without taking any action. That is going to again drop your score in the SEO, because if user is just jumping off from your site, then it is kind of a thing. Okay, user is not finding what they are looking for, and if they are not finding for what they are looking for, it is going to be a potential loophole in our experience design, in our SEO as well, right? So we need certain actions which user is we need to predict what user is going to do here. Okay, my website is about selling a book. Then first thing what user would be doing, buy a book. Okay, but if you go more into details, no one will buy a book without going into details of it. So then what we can think of, okay, instead of buy now, I can say know more or read more, right? So that's what your ideation phase comes into the picture. What elements you need to have on the screen, that is something you are just plotting out. You are not going into details. Okay, which image will attract users, which color will attract users, what is going to be theme of my website. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just plotting out rough layouts. Okay, how many ways are there where I can put in some sort of information on the screen for this particular use case. Okay, I hope guys this makes sense to you, and this helps you to determine the process in designing. And this is what I do follow when I start product designing from scratch. If you're doing something which is already been built, and if you want to just continue in the same, still you can do it, but not from scratch. But what you can do, at least you can create a couple of screenshots, a couple of layouts when you want to. Let's say I want to create a login screen, right? A login screen, a typical standard way is just have two blocks or two input fields on the screen, one CTA to login, one CTA to create new account, one CTA to forget your if you forget your password or user. That is a bare minimum thing which should be there on the screen, right? Then you can think of, okay, I may think of having form on the right hand side, and then I can utilize some sort of images here, right? What else I can do? I can simply have my login thing here itself, and then I can put some important content here, and then I can put some sort of image here. What else I can do? Let's say I want login on the left hand side, right? I have CTAs, and then this section has, or entire background has a image, right? What else we can do is like then again something reverse to this. We have login on the left hand side, and then we have image on the right hand side. So in this phase you can if you try to go ahead in Figma or any other design tool, then if you try to create these wireframes, or at least in the blocky structure, it is going to take at least few minutes. But if we do it on the paper pencil, we are going to take it it is going to take less than a minute. What we are doing, we are just drawing a couple of boxes on the screen on the paper, and we are just plotting out our elements on it. I hope guys you have enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel if not yet, and don't forget to hit the bell icon, because if you are not doing that, then you are definitely going to miss a lot of future updates with our channel. So yep, keep learning, keep designing, stay happy, stay healthy. Thanks guys.